Williams 8-ball. It's an old multiplayer. If we go back here into the back box, usual things. Steppers are a little sluggish, not too bad though, amazingly. See, it springs back a little slow. The thing is, because it's a 2-player, they use relays to switch between the players. You see all these make-break switches across here. That's how they change from player 1 to player 2, opposed to having a player stepper unit. This was less expensive, so I have to go through all that stuff. And then we've got, this looks like a match unit with a bell. See the bell? So when this thing, oh yeah, look, it's missing a spring on here. So we got to get a spring on here. Get that going. So it needs a little love. This is the ball stepper. And what I've done is I've taken the spider off. You notice that the spider was marked at the factory. See the little yellow paint there? It matches with the yellow paint here. It saves me the trouble of having to mark the spider, because you don't want to put the spider back on reverse. Then clean this up with 400 and lightly lubricate with Teflon gel lube and put it back together. The pivot points over here seem to be pretty good. They're not bound at all. Everything seems to be moving nice and free. Okay, so now she moves up really nice, and watch the reset. Nice and snappy after you clean everything up. That's how you want it to be, nice and snappy. So this unit, which is like the ones unit or the match unit, the spring was just in the wrong place. Just had to straighten that out, put it on the right spot. Over here, I took the big like plate off. Now this one you don't have to mark, because this one's a continuous stepper. There's no reset coil. See up here the lack of a reset coil? It's just an advanced coil. So you can't put this one on wrong. You can have it either way, and it doesn't really matter. So we cleaned up those rivets with some 400, lightly lubed with Teflon gel lube, and we put it back together. So I got the moving disc back on, but if you look at the snowshoes, you can see they're not lining up with the stationary rivets. And what happens is this big like plate actually has some rotation available in it, and we can just turn it a little bit to center that stuff. There we go. That looks better. So now I can manually advance this and make sure that the moving snowshoes line up squarely with the rivets, which they do. So we're all good to go now. Next up, I go through all these relays, make sure they have a good wiping motion, that because over time the distance between the blades gets too great. I want the distance fairly close, so when it moves moves the blade, and you get a wiping motion on the contacts. So I've gone through all these relays, and of course the make break for the 1 versus 2 player that we talked about before. Set the game on free play by making this switch right here permanently closed. Under the playfield, just from the bottom board, just went through all the relays, checking gap, and again on the score motor doing that too. I'll look at the switch adjustment on this bank, but the big thing is that there's 2 bonus stepper units on the bottom of the playfield. So you got a stripe unit and a solid unit over there, and both of these, they're not too bad, but they're a little sluggish. We'll clean those up on both sides. Get the 2 stepper units done. You can see I cleaned up the plates over here, lubed them. They're working very nice now, much nicer than they were. So now we're up to the flippers. For some reason the flippers are missing the plunger that goes between the flipper coil and the paw right here. And in fact, I found them in the bottom of the game. Here's one. The link is gone, so we're gonna have to make a fiber link for this plunger so we can have a flipper. And then over on this one, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little nylon spacer. You see the nylon spacer that's on that one is there. You come over here, the nylon spacer on this switch stack right there is missing. So I have to put one of those in. New big light link, new hitch pin, just the end of stroke switch. That's the end of stroke. Should open at full. Perfect. Ready to try it. One thing really interesting about this game, because it's mid to late 60s, you notice the drop down in the cabinet, how it dips down. Well, they do that for a reason, and it's to accommodate this extra long coin door. Now, why do they have an extra long coin door? Look at the front here. Dime or nickels or quarters. It takes 3 denominations. So if you look at the coin mech, this is actually a jukebox coin mech. Okay, and the reason why is at this time, I believe Seeburg owned Williams, and of course Seeburg makes jukeboxes. So this will take 3 different denominations and then trigger one of these 3 switches and do adjustment, or do credits based on nickels, dimes, and quarters. So that's why the cabinet drops down to accommodate this huge coin door. And this guy just kind of goes in here like this. I'm not going to set it up. I've just put the game on free play. There's no reason for taking nickel, dimes, and quarters. Initial test. The score reel's reset. Ball in the shooter lane. First player up. Ball 1. There. Now hit that. The pop up will turn on for 10 points. Otherwise, they're 1 point. This thing, God, that's worth a lot. 500 points for that roundabout. That's pretty good. Kick out holes. Pop bumper. 200 down through here. 200 through there. So when we lose the ball, just go to ball 2. Lose it again. Ball 3. Lose it again. Ball 4. Lose it again. 5. And now it should go to game over. Yep, game over.